Welcome back to Project Mega Ranger 6x6. In the last one, we painted the whole truck with Raptor liner in the nice blue that you see here, and we also installed the snorkel from a 5th gen 4Runner onto our truck. In this one, I promise you, we are actually going to start the build. I have here the leaf springs for the rearmost axle. I just had to get these old bushings out and get the new ones in. We're also going to extend the frame, get these mounted, and get the rear axle mounted, along with doing some touch-ups to the axle next. I know I previously said we were going to use this material here to make our own spring perches, but when I was cleaning up the workbench, because we need the tools over there, I found these guys. And lo and behold, they fit perfectly on this axle. So if I clean up the paint, they'll weld on nicely. I just had to make a little bit of trimming on the top plate. That way the U-bolts can clamp down properly. And we have our spring perches, which is perfect. We like when things work out for us. I don't have to spend excess time to build something else that is going to be needed. And these are actually a lot thicker of material than what the original spring perches were. So this is going to work out nicely. There's that one. Probably should have done this before, but we need to untie our wires here and get rid of those. There we go. Oh. Whew. Okay. We got a couple things that we gotta grind out too, and when we do our frame extension, we got to have it come back to at least this point here. So we're going to drill these holes in so it bolts into this whole thing, gets sandwiched. We're also going to weld it too, but it doesn't hurt to throw some bolts in as well, because overkill, why not? There we go. Okay, now that that's off, let's get this mount off as well, or let's just pop this out. Come on. Ugh. Yeah. Now that we got this all cleared out, we're going to roll the axle in, get it kind of positioned of where I want it, just so we can, have a look. We want this to be 38 inches back from centered. Just forward a little bit. Forward like an inch. Just like right there. You know, having the previous flatbed off of the truck and now having the rear axle kind of put in its place, it's really starting to make me feel like this is actually happening, and it's super surreal because this is gonna be really fucking cool. Like, look at that. That looks awesome so far. I'll get some clips of that for you guys right now. So this is exciting that it's legitimately happening. You know, it's looking really good. It's kind of lined up for where I want it. So. It's almost there. There's gonna be a little bit of fine tuning here and there at least. We got to clean up the back portion of the frame so we can get our extension pieces in there. That is, and then we can kind of figure out exactly where the forward mount for the leaf spring is going to mount, and then where the rear one is. And once we know that, we can kind of figure out what we're going to do for our new tow hitch. I'm thinking tow hitch and winch plate, kind of all in one. So that way we'll have a winch in the front and one in the back. So it's better to plan that now than later on. But I'm happy with this. This is looking really cool so far. Now that we've cleaned out the frame right there and on the other side, we're gonna grab the extensions and start getting those in. All right. We made a slight boo-boo when doing this. Initially I was going to have this butt up against. Come to find out it's too short. So it needs to be something like out here. Which is not too bad, I don't think. Oh. Because on that point to there's 28. It was 31 and a half, I believe. From, or actually no, it just needed to be 28 from there. Well, before we do these back extensions, we're going to figure out where the axle is truly going to sit so we can make sure this guy is in the correct place. I think minimum I'd like to see is probably about that, about 3.5. I think that's what I'd like to see there. That way I know it's long enough. Now we're gonna do a bracing across this location here, and probably some bracing across this location here, just to make sure that these are all nice and strong. And then at the back, there's gonna be more bracing, but we need to figure out how we're going to make that, since the rear shackle for the forward axle, or for the rearmost axle, is gonna be about here. For the rear shackle, about here-ish. So we're going to need to figure that out. Okay. Oh, we got a few holes to drill in these guys, that is. Once that's done, I think we'll try to get these guys permanent, and then we'll figure out what the extensions need to be. There we go. Okay. That is looking really straight. That is good. Oh. Looks like frame's bent a little bit here. Just bent up, and then the lower one's bent down a little bit, but that's fine. You can easily, on final assembly, when I'm ready to weld, I can tap those up and down. So that is good. I'm happy with that. That is just as strong as that, but like I said, we're going to add cross support here. And then when we have our second attachment, we're going to have another one here and probably tie those in together. So kind of just make it like a nice little cross, and two pieces coming across as well. Just to help tie the original frame and the new portion of the frame into one piece. And then for the back, we're probably going to have, since the new shackle is going to be directly under, and it's going to be in line, we need to figure out how we're going to do our trailer hitch. So I'm thinking, since that guy's going to be bolted up, I might, I don't know. Got to think about that. Might be something that kind of sits in it, and that the rear shackle bolts up into as well, and then it's kind of inset in the actual frame versus sitting below. So my trailer hitch will be higher, which is fine, because that'll be better to perch angle, even though it's going to have two axles, so you know, it's not going to have great departure angle. Well, actually, maybe it will. Well, we'll find out. We'll have to do some testing once it's together and show you guys how well it's doing. All right, let's get the other one in, and then we'll maybe roll the axle in and get some new measurements and see how we're doing. Okay, we did a lot of measuring off screen. I've got these kind of marked out so I can put them back to where they need to be, but that's, is what it is. So the center point of this shackle, for the rearmost shackle, is going to be an inch in from the rear part of the new frame, which puts it center point right about here. The forward mount is going to be right about here, just before the frame kind of dips up. So that's working out really good. We're happy with that. There's going to be a lot to trim down here. There's a whole lip that we got to deal with, but that's okay. Everything's looking really good. We have the same distance from the original frame to the back of the new frame. So that's good. That means, we're the same length that way. We're going to need to make sure that we are square going back. Okay.
Oh, you want me to take the other side?
So we got the lovely Allie finally coming to help out.
Window, or
Yeah.
mirror.
Don't hit the mirror.
Front of the truck or front of the bumper?
Very front of the bumper.
Okay.
Okay.
About,
We're just
about there. It's
about
not perfect,
there.
but
So about there is. So the back of the frame is going to be 19'4". I'm gonna lose some stuff. My battery's dead. Okay, turns out I had one last battery. So that kind of works out nicely. So I drilled the holes out. These are 1/2" grade 10 bolts, zinc coated. And they are going to be what holds the top portion here down. And I think I'll do 2 more through the side as well. I'll have to get a wrench and an impact for that. I'm gonna get to drilling these last few holes. I think I'm just gonna hammer those out real quick and then call it a night. We're back at it. It's another beautiful day. We're going to build the mounts for the leaf springs, get those on today as well, get the leaf springs on. By the end of the day, I kind of want to be able to take the truck for a drive. So hopefully we can get this done. I'd like to stay on kind of a schedule because we are on, it's now Tuesday and we have until Saturday for the car show. So we have a lot to do still. So we got to get after it. So off camera last night, we finished up the 3 bolts on either side of this guy. Now it is pretty damn strong. Strong enough that it can hold my 200-pound ass. So that's pretty good. There's not a lot of, there's a little bit of twist and deflection out of it, which is to be expected. But once we put that cross brace in here and the rearmost cross brace as well, it's gonna be pretty sturdy. So I'm pretty happy with this so far. So if we can get the axle mounted today along with the leaf springs, then we can take it for a test drive and see how this rear end holds up. So this is 3.5" square tube, 1/4 wall. It's about 2 feet long. So I'm going to cut this evenly. So I'm going to get roughly 6" pieces, 4 of them. The eyelets for, the eyelets for the leaf springs, as well as the rear shackles, fit inside of here perfectly. That's why I went with this. Not because it's 1/4 wall. It's overkill for what I need. So we're going to cut this up into what we need. And then we're going to flip it on its side, locate where we want our holes to be based off of where they're going to be on the truck, and get those drilled out. And once those are drilled, we're going to come back to this and we're going to trim off one of the faces to turn this into C-channel. So that's the plan. We're going to get to it. Alright, we did quite a bit of work off camera there. We got these guys turned into C-channel. We have our holes for our shackle, and we've drilled 3 pilot holes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to square this guy off to the frame, right about there. Hold that guy in place and drill our holes from the bottom up, making sure it's square with the outside. Because I'd rather the leaf spring be in a little bit more. That way, when both axles get a little twisty when we're off-road, they're not going to hit each other. So we don't want that. So that is how that is going to be. So we got some good progress already. We got both rear shackle mounts mounted to the frame now, and the rear shackles just hanging out. Now I just have to install the forward ones, or rather the front ones, and then we can get the leaf springs on and get the rear axle on. It's dark now, kind of. I did a lot of work off camera So I'll show you what we did. We went ahead and got the rear shackle assembly all together. The leaf spring is on, the forward mount is on, and then we did the same on the other side as well. So we very well could potentially toss the axle under this before we go inside. But one big thing that we didn't anticipate is there's interference between our shock and our mount. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna have to do. Potentially relocate that. It's not an issue on the other side, but it's an issue right here. We are back at it. It's another beautiful morning. First order of business, I think, is going to be cutting up and building our frame supports, the cross members that is, and getting those installed. And I think once that's done, I think then we will roll the axle underneath and get it sitting on both axles. So even with just one cross member, that has greatly increased the strength. Now there's just a little bit of deflection at the very back here, but that'll be remedied with a temporary back cross member. That'll be there until we build our heavy duty tow hitch and winch plate. So when we build that, I gotta figure out how that's gonna go in here. But we're gonna have our hitch and then a winch in this area as well. So we got a lot of work done. I know I keep saying that, but we got the two cross members in, the back cross member in. Everything is nice and solid now. I think it's time for the axle. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up the back two bolts for the hangers, or the shackles that is, and we're going to roll this sucker under. So there's still a lot to do. All the bolts are loose still for the leaf springs. And the perches are just sitting there. There's no U-bolts holding the axle on. I have to locate the axle or the differential properly on the center line. So I'm gonna have to shift that over quite a bit. And then obviously get my proper angle. But otherwise, it's on. It's ready to go. We still have to make the new mount for the both shocks, that is. But in the meantime, everything is tightened down. The axle is fully on. It's in the proper location. So this is exciting. We do need to toss on, some 2-inch wheel spacers on the back axle to match the forward. But she is ready to go otherwise. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe to see the full process of this build. In the next one, we're building the flatbed. So those are always fun. I know there's dozens of flatbed videos, but here's another one. Remember, adventure is built, not bought.